Shock of vulnerability is the moment when power suddenly meets something it cannot command. It is the instant when a person who directs rockets, markets, and headlines understands that emotional truth does not react to status or intelligence. For someone seen as unstoppable, vulnerability does not come softly. It interrupts without warning. It reveals the delicate space beneath achievement. The world may see a visionary as precise and unshaken, but family can speak one sentence that moves past logic and lands straight in the heart. That shock is not weakness, it is confusion. It forces a meeting with the part of identity that is not built, designed, or improved. When you are used to fixing impossible problems, you assume everything can be solved. Vulnerability questions that belief. It shows that influence cannot promise understanding, and success cannot protect you from emotional impact. In that moment, titles fade away. The innovator becomes a son, a father, a human being hearing something he did not expect. The shock grows from the difference between outside control and inside exposure. You can build reusable rockets, but you cannot program how words from the people you love will move you. It is powerful because it is real and unscripted. It removes performance and replaces it with honest awareness. For someone respected for certainty, vulnerability brings humility. It becomes a mirror, reflecting not achievements, but emotional presence. It slows the fast rhythm of ambition and forces attention inward. It creates a pause where no strategy works and no public image can protect you. In that pause, you feel the weight of being human without the shield of success. You recognize that strength is not the absence of emotion, but the willingness to face it. The shock is sharp because it touches a space that cannot be optimized or managed. It simply exists, asking to be felt rather than solved. Family as the real mirror means that no matter how large your public image becomes, the people closest to you reflect who you truly are without decoration. The world celebrates results. Investors calculate performance. Media repeats milestones. But family responds to presence, voice, absence, and emotional openness. They are not impressed by market value or launch schedules. They notice whether you listen carefully, whether you truly arrive, whether your mind is somewhere else even when your body sits beside them. That is why their words feel heavier. They are not judging your achievements. They are reflecting your humanity. A mirror does not praise or criticize. It shows what stands before it. When family speaks honestly, they often reveal the space between how you see yourself and how others experience you. You may believe you are building a stronger future for them, giving up time for a greater mission, yet they may feel the distance more than the purpose. Their reflection can feel uncomfortable because it ignores reputation. It does not care about public applause. It shows whether your ambition has covered connection, whether your drive has quietly created emotional space. In that reflection, you meet a version of yourself that no audience ever sees. It questions the story that success automatically brings fulfillment. Family becomes the clearest measure of who you are beyond your resume, showing whether the person behind the accomplishments feels present, reachable, and genuine. They notice small details that the world overlooks, like the tone in your voice after a long day, or the way your attention drifts during a simple conversation. They remember promises made in quiet rooms, not promises announced on global stages. Their mirror is steady and patient, reflecting patterns over time rather than moments of glory. In their eyes, you are not a headline or a brand. You are simply yourself, and that simplicity can be both comforting and confronting. The cost of obsession is rarely visible in official announcements or product reveals. It hides inside missed dinners, delayed talks, and the silent agreement that work always comes first. Obsession is often admired when it creates innovation. It is called focus, commitment, vision. But beneath that praise, there is an exchange. To build something remarkable requires lasting intensity, long days, and mental engagement that does not easily turn off. The mind stays in problem-solving mode even during times meant for rest or connection. Slowly, that constant forward motion can create emotional distance. You may sit with family, yet mentally circle deadlines, engineering puzzles, or strategic choices. The present moment becomes less important than the next achievement. Relationships begin to adjust around the mission, bending to fit the larger goal. Loved ones may respect the ambition and even encourage it, but respect does not remove absence. The cost builds quietly over time. It shows itself in small ways: conversations becoming shorter, shared memories becoming fewer, laughter feeling less natural. Obsession narrows focus toward a single future, often at the price of fully living in today. The strange truth is that the drive to secure a better tomorrow can slowly weaken today's bonds. When success finally arrives, there may be a realization that time is the one thing that cannot be regained. The cost is not always loud arguments. Sometimes it is slow separation, a gentle drifting caused by endless attention to what lies ahead. It can appear as emotional tiredness that no amount of achievement can fix. It can show up as moments when you look around and notice how much has changed while you were chasing the next milestone. The mission grows stronger, yet some connections grow thinner. The world may celebrate your dedication, but only those close to you feel the quiet spaces it creates. Obsession promises greatness, but it quietly asks for pieces of ordinary life in return. It rarely announces what it takes. It simply keeps moving forward, asking for more time, more energy, more focus, until balance becomes difficult to remember. Identity versus achievement is the tension between who you are and what you create. Achievement can be measured. It can be counted in revenue, inventions, awards, influence, and goals reached against heavy odds. Identity is harder to measure. It lives in values, integrity, emotional presence, and the way you treat people when there's nothing to gain. When achievement becomes central, it can slowly shape identity. You are introduced by titles. You are celebrated for results. Discussions revolve around performance and output. Gradually, it becomes easy to believe that your value is directly linked to what you produce. When progress slows, doubt increases. When success grows, confidence rises. Identity begins to rise and fall with outcomes. A deeper question appears in quiet hours. If the achievements disappeared, who would remain? Would confidence still exist without praise? Would meaning still exist without constant motion? Family and close relationships often bring this tension to light because they respond to the person, not the portfolio. They look for sincerity rather than productivity. The struggle deepens when love feels connected to performance. You may wonder whether admiration is for your ideas or for your character. When identity merges completely with achievement, rest feels unearned and vulnerability feels unsafe. Separating them requires bravery. It means understanding that building extraordinary things does not replace the need to build an inner base independent of results. It invites reflection on whether self-worth is natural or constantly negotiated through accomplishment. It asks whether you can sit quietly without proving anything and still feel whole. It challenges the belief that motion equals meaning. It encourages the understanding that you are more than your output, more than your milestones, more than the applause that follows a victory. Identity grows in silence, in small, consistent choices, in kindness shown when no one is watching. Achievement may shape the world, but identity shapes the soul. When the two are balanced, success becomes healthier and relationships become steadier. When they are confused with each other, pressure increases and fulfillment becomes harder to reach. Silence behind success is the quiet, emotional ground that exists beneath visible achievement. Public victories are loud and celebrated. Launches are streamed live. Announcements spread quickly. Numbers are shared, compared, and debated. Yet the inner journey that leads to those moments often happens alone. There are nights filled with uncertainty, decisions taken under stress, and doubts that never reach a stage. The silence is not only about privacy, it is about holding emotion inside. Leaders learn to show confidence even when they feel heavy. They absorb criticism without revealing how deeply it touches them. They carry responsibility that cannot always be shared because others depend on their strength. Over time, that control becomes normal. Instead of expressing tiredness or fear, they turn it into concentration. Instead of admitting confusion, they increase effort. The world sees progress but rarely sees the cost required to sustain it. This silence reaches into personal life as well. Family may notice pressure, but not fully understand its weight. Conversations stay light because vulnerability feels like a distraction from the mission. Sacrifices remain mostly unseen. Important moments missed at home. Friendships that slowly disappear. Personal desires postponed again and again. Success increases visibility, while quietly deepening certain forms of isolation. Applause fills large spaces, yet private struggles remain unspoken. The quiet becomes familiar, holding questions without easy answers. Behind every celebrated breakthrough stands a field of silent battles, endured without announcement, shaping the person as deeply as the accomplishment itself. In that silence, reflection sometimes begins. Questions rise about balance, about meaning, about what truly lasts when headlines fade. The world may remember achievements, but the individual remembers the nights of doubt, the private fears, the sacrifices made quietly. Silence can protect strength, yet it can also hide emotion that needs space to breathe. Recognizing that hidden landscape is part of becoming whole. It is understanding that success is not only built in public moments, but also in private endurance, in unseen resilience, and in the courage to continue even when no one is watching. A recalibration moment is the point when momentum slows and perspective changes. It does not always come through failure. Sometimes it arrives through one unexpected sentence that shifts everything. When you operate at high speed, life turns into a chain of goals and deadlines. Decisions are adjusted for scale, expansion, and long-term results. Then something small, yet deeply personal, interrupts that path. A remark from family, a quiet look of hurt, or an honest question can move through layers of planning and ambition. In that instant, priorities stop being abstract ideas. They become emotional truths. Recalibration is not about giving up vision. It is about checking alignment. You begin to ask whether the speed you keep still supports what you say you value. The numbers that once felt urgent may suddenly seem flexible, while relationships you believed were stable show signs of weakness. This moment creates awareness. It uncovers blind spots formed by constant forward motion. It invites you to review compromises once defended as necessary. The discomfort comes from seeing that success and fulfillment do not automatically move together. Recalibration requires humility because it accepts that even a visionary can drift off course in personal life while moving ahead professionally. It calls for careful correction, not dramatic change, but steady shifts in time, focus, and emotional attention. The strength of this moment is quiet. Nothing outside may fall apart, yet inside, something realigns. What once felt central may move outward, and what seemed secondary steps into focus, shaping the choices that follow. It becomes a pause that feels small on the surface, but powerful within. It is a reminder that movement alone does not equal direction. Without reflection, speed can carry you far from what matters. In recalibration, you recognize that adjustment is not weakness, it is wisdom. You see that leadership also means guiding your own life with honesty. You understand that clarity often comes not from louder achievements, but from softer conversations. That single shift in awareness can influence years ahead, quietly shaping how you spend your time, how you listen, and how you define what truly deserves your energy. Human before visionary is the understanding that beneath every title, award, and milestone lives a person with fears, dreams, and vulnerabilities. Public stories often present innovators as unstoppable forces, able to reshape reality through intelligence and drive alone. But removing those outer layers reveals a human being walking through the same emotional struggles as anyone else. This truth does not usually arrive in front of cameras. It often appears in quiet, honest moments when leadership demands fade and simple presence remains. In those times, the symbols of influence, the offices, the headlines, the financial charts, lose importance. What stays meaningful is sincerity, empathy, and connection. Being human before visionary means facing the gap between outer expectations and inner needs. It is allowing yourself to admit tiredness without guilt, to request support without fear, and to feel disappointment without hiding it behind productivity. It is having the courage to say you were wrong and to choose relationships over schedules when they conflict. This shift changes how decisions are shaped. Success is not only about results, but about character, compassion, and engagement. The person beneath the visionary title becomes the true measure of impact, not defined only by innovation or dominance, but by the quality of interaction with others and the honesty carried within. Recognizing this humanity does not weaken ambition, it steadies it. It grounds creativity in reality while protecting emotional health. When the visionary remembers they are human first, leadership becomes sustainable. Inspiration becomes authentic. Innovation becomes connected to values rather than ego. This awareness softens rigidity and strengthens wisdom. It allows space for laughter, for rest, for reflection. It reminds you that strength is not built only in boardrooms or laboratories, but also in kitchens, in quiet talks, in moments when no one is watching. To be human before visionary is to accept that greatness without grounded humanity feels empty. It is to understand that the heart must grow alongside the mind. Only then can vision remain powerful without becoming isolating. Only then can influence expand without losing compassion. Redefining winning is the gradual shift from common definitions of success to measures that feel personally meaningful and deeply fulfilling. Society often links victory with wealth, recognition, power, or the completion of difficult goals. For a visionary, these signs are amplified. Rockets launched, companies expanded, industries transformed. Yet with time, a deeper realization appears that such milestones, while impressive, do not automatically bring peace, connection, or wholeness. Real winning begins to include emotional availability, the strength of relationships, and the harmony between beliefs and actions. It means being fully present in moments that cannot be counted and placing attention where it carries lasting value. Redefining winning also questions the idea that progress must always be visible and measurable. It accepts that inner growth, empathy, patience, and trust are victories equal to public achievements. For someone used to public praise, This change can be quiet, yet powerful. It becomes clear that applause fades, headlines move on, but the way you treat people leaves a longer mark. This new view does not reduce ambition, it reshapes it. Personal health, family bonds, and integrity become part of the scorecard. Winning is no longer about standing alone at the top, but about walking the journey with awareness and balance. Often this redefinition begins in moments of thoughtfulness, in conversations that feel honest, when old measures seem less satisfying and new priorities rise. You start to see that progress without connection feels incomplete. You understand that building something extraordinary matters more when it does not cost the ordinary joys of life. The shift may be subtle, but it changes direction. Success becomes not only what you achieve, but how you live while achieving it. It becomes about the peace you feel at the end of the day, the trust others place in you, and the consistency between your words and actions. In this understanding, winning is not a single finish line. It is a way of living with intention, gratitude, and awareness. In the end, this speech is not about rockets, market values, or public praise. It is about the moments that remove titles and show the human inside the visionary. It is about recognizing that real success is measured not by what the world cheers, but by how we appear for those who matter most. How we carry ourselves in vulnerable times, and how we adjust when life quietly teaches us something important. Family, presence, humility, and emotional honesty become the mirrors that reveal who we truly are, reminding us that achievement without connection feels unfinished. Obsession and ambition can move us forward quickly, but without pause, without awareness, without the bravery to face our own humanity, the journey can lose its purpose. The greatest innovations and victories may fill news feeds, yet it is the quiet, unseen moments, the conversations in living rooms, the change in attention, the deliberate choice to value love, presence, and integrity that reshape what it truly means to win. In the end, the message leaves a clear and powerful understanding. Being human is not a barrier to ambition. It is the base on which lasting success, real relationships, and genuine fulfillment are formed. When we accept that truth, we see that the most remarkable journey is not only about reaching distant planets or setting records, it is about learning to stay present, fully human, and deeply alive in the lives we influence and the world we help create. It is about choosing awareness over autopilot, connection over image, and sincerity over performance. It is about understanding that while achievements may define eras, humanity defines legacy. When all headlines fade and milestones are remembered as history, what remains is how we loved, how we listened, and how we showed up. That is the quiet victory that outlasts every other win.